12 years of corporate HR experience in reputable, global, multicultural, and matrix organizations, Jennifer is dedicated to helping people become confident and effective speakers and leaders. So I also heard that you started volunteering for COVID-19 24/7 crisis line. What motivated you to do that?
Yes, actually, I have been a mental health advocate for a very long time. I took a 60-hour classroom training from the InTouch Community Services and also from the Mental Health First Responder Group facilitated by Dr. Arto Lentino. He's a US-based mental health practitioner. And right now, I am trying to complete the 200 practicum hours on the line. And yes, one of the services that we offer is for our countrymen. We have this 24/7 line which they can call whenever they feel anxious, nervous, or fearful about this COVID-19 pandemic. And yes, we receive calls because unfortunately some of our countrymen are not that financially ready, and they feel that this enhanced community quarantine is not going to help in answering or settling their financial obligations. And you also know, if we don't have that good working relationship, or rather relationship with our families, being cooped up in a house 24/7 can grate on anybody's nerves. I read this article on Google that in China, but it's too early to say whether it's COVID-19 that is the primary reason why there is a high incidence of divorce in China, because yes, because
Wow.
spouses are cooped up 24/7 in the house. So I think that some of the society is also brought on by dysfunctional family dynamics.
Right, but because it's a helpline and you cannot really handhold them all the way, there are two questions I'd like to ask. One is, what are the most common questions that come about from anxiety on the hotline? The second one is, how do you suggest that they help themselves when you're helping them through the hotline?
All right. So for question number one, what are the usual calls about? Again, that's anxiety due to not being able to fulfill their financial obligations, because here in the Philippines, some companies have this no work, no pay rule. So if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. And number two is, again, the family dynamics, because they have been together in the house 24/7 and they rub each other the wrong way. So those are the two common reasons for the calls. Now, for the question number two, how do they deal, or how do we help them deal with the COVID pandemic? Actually, we have calls asking us to give them advice. But I'd like to think that what we do is more of coaching, because we believe that if we do the decision for them, we are disempowering them. So when a caller calls in and tells me personally his or her problem and asks for advice, I tell him or her that I'm here, I'm listening, I'm here to listen to you, help you clarify your thoughts and feelings, but I'm not here to give you an advice. What I'm here is to help you make that decision for yourself. Help the caller explore all possibilities, all potentialities that are available to him or her, so that he or she can be empowered to make the decision. Because I believe that if the caller will make the decision himself or herself, then he or she will be more accountable. He or she will be more apt to follow through on the commitment that he made to himself or herself.
Right, Jennifer, basically because this helpline is in Philippines, right? So if it's in Singapore, same thing. If someone has difficulty financially because they are on an hourly rate, then what are the 2 or 3 crucial steps that they should guide themselves through in order to make the right kind of decisions?
The right kind of decisions, it all boils down to core values, I believe. The person must be aware of what he or she deems important for himself or herself. And also, you cannot discount the importance of a strong family system. The family should also be able to support the person, be willing to understand what is needed to do as a family so that they together can survive, not only survive, rather, but also thrive in this pandemic.
Jennifer, so in this particular situation, there will be a lot of people who are earning on a day-to-day basis a daily rate. So when these callers call in and tell you that they are financially very distressed, how do you guide them and help them?
We usually do the solution focused brief therapy. We ask the person to imagine a situation where things are better. What would it look like when things were better? What it would feel like when things are better? And when that person is able to imagine, able to conceive how it would look, how it would feel when things were better, you could feel that there's a certain lightheartedness. And one of the most recent calls that I received, the person was already suicidal because of one incident that is similar to that. And I was gratified when, before we put down the phone, she was already laughing. So I could feel that in my own little way, I have been able to help one person. You know, sometimes you feel that, am I doing enough? Am I helping? But at the end of the day, when you look back at your calls and you realize you may not be able to change the whole world, but the important thing is you are able to change one life. Just one person deciding that no, not today. I will not take my own life today because there is still hope. I can still do something. I have my wits with me. I have my knowledge and the competence that I have been able to gather through years of experience. I can do this. I can carry through this situation. That makes me feel satisfied. That makes me feel happy and fulfilled. My daughter jokes actually. She said, "Are you working?" And I said, "Yes, I am working." And she asked, "Are you being paid?" "No, I'm not." "So you're not working?" And I said, "No, I'm still working. I'm just not gainfully employed." So I'm happy because it's good work. I want to think that the reason we are not being paid is because our work is priceless.
That's very, very inspiring, Jennifer. I think in our earlier conversations, you mentioned as well, a lot of times someone, because they've been bringing money back on a monthly basis, so when they suddenly stop, there's a lot of insecurities. Can you share a little
Mhm.
bit more from this perspective?
Yes. Actually, those interpersonal conflicts that I have mentioned, it is rooted. It all boils down to that inability to bring in the money. Some of the colors, they feel that their families no longer appreciate them because they are no longer able to bring in the money. So that makes them feel insecure. It makes them question their competence, makes them fearful also because they are breadwinners. What will happen to their family? How long will this enhanced community quarantine last? Will we be able to last before this enhanced community quarantine ends or is lifted? So when I personally ask them, what will it be? What will it look like? What will it feel like when things were better? And they are able to imagine that. Then I encourage them to think of 2 to 3 small steps that they can immediately put into action so that they can bring about that imagined or that desired outcome. It's really gratifying when they are able to make that 2 to 3 small steps so that they can stop thinking about this COVID-19, stop really mulling over this present time and the anxieties and the fears that it brings, and instead focus themselves to the future so that they can build that desired outcome. So that gives me the happiness whenever I put down the phone.
Right. Thank you so much for your sharing, Jennifer.